This show is brought to you by... Are you ready to take your show to the next level? Look no further than Podcast Base Plus, your all-in-one solution for video podcasting success. At Podcast Base Plus, we don't just film and edit your show. We offer a full-service experience that sets us apart from the rest. With Podcast Base Plus, you can focus on what you love, creating exceptional content while we handle the technicalities behind the scenes. So why settle for anything less? Step into the future of podcasting with Podcast Base Plus. Elevate your podcast today. Visit our website or call to book now.
And what are some of its distinguishing aspects? Hood culture. Whoever want to take it up.
Hood culture is right now the governing body of the Black community, unfortunately. The kids, our youth, are really governed by the music that they hear now. And it's sad, it's unfortunate. It started off in the right perspective. You know, it started off being a good thing, but sometime along the way it just took a mean turn for the worse. And now it's the hood culture is really raising the kids nowadays. I see it all the time. I see kids start off as real good kids when they 8, 9, 10 years old, and by the time they 15, 16, it's like they're engulfed in the culture, and it's just like, you're not even this type of kid. Like, you a mama's boy type of thing. You got like 2 parents, bro, and you want to mimic the rappers that you see on TV, but you mimicking the worst of the worst.
And they faking it.
Yeah, it's a lot of good rappers and entertainers that's like solid role models if you look into their background and their career and how they handle and how they carry. But they following the worst of the worst. They following the goons, the shooters, the lowest of the low. Like they following the bottom of the barrel, unfortunately. And I mean, it's the distinguishing aspects in it. Right off the bat, it's the whole style. The style is the most distinguishing aspect when you see a person dressed a certain type of way, and it's not like you're standing out. It's not like you're expressing yourself in the way you dress. You're dressed like, you look like a dime a dozen now. With how all the other kids dress, it's like, okay, here you go. Pants got smaller, hanging lower, hair getting wigged out. Your whole style, your drip is mimicking, every other kid in your neighborhood. There's nothing special about you. So that's the most distinguishing thing, and disturbing too, because like when you know how these kids are, it's just like, good kid, like you still gotta like get good grades, but on the outside when you getting posted, it's like, I'm like, why you getting goals in your mouth? Yeah, nice straight white teeth. Why you getting, gold plated, but then you coming in and getting a haircut? Your mama gotta pay for your haircuts.
The question is, why is the parents paying for gold teeth? Because they hood.
That type of
that's an honor, and there's some of the fees. So
because we'll joke about that in the shop, and we'll talk about it, and it's like we want to ask some parents sometimes. It's like, yo, like that your son look like a little dope. Like
they're praising it. Yeah. Just like putting Jordans on 2-week-old babies. Like, make that make sense. With gold chains on a baby, lace fronts.
I think the whole thing with the hood culture, I think is a big misconception of keeping it being real and keeping it 100. Yeah. And I think in some of our communities, we got a big misconception of what the true definition of what that really is. And I think that's what have people acting out in a different way, because they think they're keeping it real, But, when you identify what real is, it may not be what it's all hyped up to be. And you have a lot of folks, like you mentioned, they get enticed by the entertainers, they get enticed by the music videos and think that that's their life. And they don't really understand that, those guys who really living that life, they either dead or in jail. They not living like that.
Life in jail.
Yeah, jail. Yeah. Exactly. What they had is jail.
What they're rapping is not the same as what they're living.
No, that's not authentic. And the kids are copying something that's deceptive.
Right. And just going with it blindly.
But you know what? The difference is in the music when we grew up, most of our rappers weren't living anything they were rapping. Nowadays, a lot of these dudes, they live in that shit. They rap. Yeah. And that's the even worse part, because they'll drop an album, it'll be a hit song, and then they catch a bid. And it's like they get praised for catching bids, and it's like all of these little young rappers, they either catching bids, catching bodies, or getting killed. And it's at an alarming rate now. But back when we was coming up, it's like, yeah, our rappers were married. Like, I was listening to NWA, and I'm like, Ice Cube,
Gotta work about
been a family man, and I'm just like, when I saw that, I'm like, no, so you can get in front of the, the microphone and say what you want to say in front of the camera, and then still be a family man.
Still was an actual gang member.
Sure, a lot of,
but he was still a family man.
But he still was a family man. A lot of gang members are family men. I think in my day, most of the rappers actually rapped about their communities and the things that they saw. Mm-hmm. And some of them were about that life, but they wanted out of that life. That was their option. That was the reason why they chose to get into the rapping, because they actually wanted to be out of that life. They didn't want to rap to be in that. They wanted to rap to get out of that. And I think that's the difference now. And hood culture to me is embarrassing as hell. I'm going to just keep it 100. For me, it's embarrassing. Thank you. Do I want to get up and see Black women or Black young women act the way that they act? No, it's embarrassing. I don't get it anymore. Yes, I want the Black community to be respectful and to be good and funny like we always had. We play cards, we talk a little trash at the barbecue. Right. All of that was good, wholesome stuff. Yes. This nonsense that's going on now, it ain't cute. It's not funny. It is embarrassing. And then we want to say that the white man has, created this for us. And truth be told, no. We all at this table grew up in a Black community. Right. None of us grew up wealthy, but our parents taught us something, how to be. Right. No, we went to school and taught a little hood and taught, had a little ratchetness on us at school, but we still did our work.
It out when we got home.
We didn't disrespect our teachers.
No.
And we did our work when we got home. And then my mom was always, listen, learn how to turn it on and off.
Yeah,
correct.
I was just about to say that. You knew how to turn it on and off.
I have one person at work, and at home when I'm talking to my girlfriends, it's different. But they don't know how to turn it off.
No.
There's no turn off for them. And it's crazy. I interview people all the time, and it's the most embarrassing thing when you interviewing somebody and you're Black and you got a panel of your counterparts are Caucasian. Mm-hmm. And you interviewing somebody Black, and you're sitting there with embarrassed.
Yeah.
But you know what? Just how they even showing up to interview. Mm-hmm. And it's not just them, because the white kids now don't understand how to show up to an interview either. But it's just still embarrassing.
When I moved back here from Kansas and went to a job interview, I looked and I said, at an interview, I'm dressed, and some of the people there look like they going straight to the club, and I was like,
workout. I people in leggings and flip flops.
2002
in their bonnet. Oh yeah, but the girl said to me, I just got my hair done, and I said, well, can you come back after your hair is down? Like, I literally would I would tell people I'm canceling your interview. I wouldn't say how you look, but I would just say, listen, I'm going to reschedule your interview for another day.
I don't understand that concept, though. It's like they're wearing the bonnet because you just got your hair done. So when do you ever show your hairstyle? Do you wear that for 2 weeks? Like, when do you ever show the hair?
So
I don't wear a
this is my thing. People have forgot, and it's unfortunate because not in every scenario it's in place. But people, your first impression, I always grew up where your first impression was everything.
Yeah.
And it carries.
And it carries as to who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody believes in that anymore.
No.
You know, my mom used to say, make sure you got on clean underwear because you fall dead out there. They pick you up. You got to make sure you have on clean pants.
Right.
Yeah.
Those old
School stuff, yeah.
But you know what? This
Of-
generation thinks that, oh, well, you need to get to know me. Well, your first impression
doesn't
wasn't
make me want to get to know
right.
you.
I think people like skip over all of that.
No, my mother wouldn't even let me go to the grocery store. There used to be a grocery store right up the street called Pantry Pride.
Yeah, I remember that.
Listen, my hair would not hold a curl, so I would take on Friday nights after school. I'm rolling with that sponge roller and keep it in my hair all weekend. But if my mother said, "Come go to the grocery store with me," or "Come go," so I didn't want to take it out because my hair was gonna fall. At least let it stay curl all through the day of Monday in school. Mom said, "You're not walking around the house nowhere with nothing like."
Wait, you needed it for the whole weekend to hold the curl?
girl, because I had long, thick hair and it just wouldn't hold her. I didn't have a relaxer.
Put a little water on it.
I didn't have a relaxer then. So I always had the little thing and it would just drop. So I was like, you're not going anywhere looking like that with me. So I raised my kids the same way, you know?
You think parents is that the issue?
Well, I don't really think
Yes.
it's parents. Not necessarily, because I think really you got to think about where hood culture, where it was derived from. And really, sometimes it derived from the struggle, you know, us not really having much and being able to be able to work with what we have in our possession. But I think now that we've grown as far as Black people, you know, we don't have to do a lot of the stuff that we've done before, but we still have some folks who stuck in that mentality. You know what I mean?
But at the same time, we still had rules and regulations from our parents. Like when you said your mom wouldn't allow you to leave out here, it's like we did what we did outside the house, but we also knew like we had a clear-cut directives of how to handle and where to handle. Like with the kids now, they don't have that. Their parents not teaching them that. I still have to tell people I'm in the shop. It'd be grown men, and I still have to be like, yo, we got company. And when I say we got company, it could be people who don't look like us, women, older people, like, we got company, like, tighten up. Like, when I say we got company, it's tell your customer, watch his mouth, type of thing.
Right.
Like, change our subject matter what we talking about because of who's around. You feel me?
And that I'd appreciate that because I used to take my sons to the barbershop and they wouldn't do that until I said something. I'm like, I'm sorry, but do you not see a woman sitting here?
They don't
Like,
they
I
don't
don't
the
want
barbershop
my
I go to,
son
they don't change.
listening to you call your wife.
That's because they probably know you. You probably talk like how they talk.
But
You probably carry on how they
like now you got to think about it too. Think about the grandparents nowadays and the grandparents
my age.
30 years ago.
Or 40.
So I'm like, my age.
Yeah, they know it, right?
So could you even imagine when we was coming up thinking about a grandma in the same
Right, right.
go hanging out in the same place?
You
hang out there.
You want to know something that's crazy? When I was 10, my grandma was 47.
Wow.
But my grandmother was always a grandmother. Like, my dad is only 17 years older than me, but he had like old school ways and handle about him. It was like he wasn't no young boy, you feel me? And it's just all about how you was raised and how you was governed. There's certain things that I knew not to do because I knew I had a governing body to answer to.
That's right.
By the time I got a certain age, it's like, yeah, I ain't have no fear of my mom, but I still got the fear of my dad. And it was like, I didn't want to embarrass him and or disappoint him. And he's the type of man that's never raised his voice or cursed, ever. Never told me no. But I was still like, I was at my parents' house today and I'm looking at my dad. He about to go to the gym, 63 years old. And I'm like, I need to get back in the gym a little more. Pops like it's swole. Like, I'm like, boy, I need to get in the gym. But the kids nowadays clearly have their governing body is way more lenient. And I seen it in the households I've been in when I was married before. And it's just like, yo, this gonna be a problem. You gotta tighten up on that now. At 12.
But they want to post it online. And
Yeah.
2-year-old, 5-year-old, cussing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all this.
But well, what about the little girls that's 8, 9, 10 twerking and the mothers are encouraging it? Like, what do you do?
Look at my baby.
And you think it's cute.
They do. And I just think that we society allows kids to grow up too much, too fast. Like, we used to dance in front of family, but
it wasn't videotape.
it wasn't twerking, it was popping back then. But I bet I not seeing that going on. My mom.
I was about to say, we gonna hold back in front of family.
We are going back.
No, it's like it's like you better use your shoulders.
No, you did not.
You gotta use your shoulders only.
This the whole thing.
Was popping. They was doing the dog and stuff.
Oh, my
True.
Walk the same about doing it, but they were adults.
Yeah.
That's a difference.
So you think it's just like a natural, because like our grandmas would probably say the same thing about their children's culture drastically changing. You think that's just the natural progression of these? And now we're just like, oh.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was feeling about.
I understand that.
When I was in a school in Luke, I remember buying Two Live Crew's album. Yes, album.
Then is the record.
I'm in the house, and I'm like, I didn't know my mom had came home, and I'm in there like, come on, popping that thing. Oh, and she said, what in the hell are you listening to? I said, no, never heard that song, Mom. She said, who sang that song? I said, Bobby Blue Black.
I know it's so crazy, right?
It's like making a, she was like, you didn't know that.
But some of their songs, like, you clutch your pearls, like,
But you know what was so crazy?
Yeah.
The blues song.
Them blues songs.
Listen, my mom bought me a 2 Live Crew album. Now, mind you, I was young. I was like, my mom and I had the young parents.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I got a healthy balance. Like, I knew Lisa Stansfield the whole album, but Anita Baker, but I also knew Houdini. 2 Live Crew. You hear me? Like, I was like, hey, one of those 7-year-olds should have known to rap your whole album. But I also,
I was left with my head going to sleep.
yeah. So I have complete and that Key Sweat Make It Last Forever album because that was the But my mother bought me the 2 Live Crew album. My aunt bought me my first NWA album, and mind you, I'm right at the 8, 9, 10-year-old mark. But for some reason, I don't remember my mother like drilling me on what to and not to say. It's just kind of like it just came to me like incoherent. Like
she set an example.
I knew not to say certain things around certain people. I wasn't one of the little kids just, I'm listening to 2 Live Crew in the room, and then I go out there and I'm talking about throw that D in front of everybody and stuff. It was just like, this is what I listen to at home. I don't even speak of this in school. And my son was kind of the same way. I used to tell him but he kind of got it. Like, we'll be on the way to school, and he was like 4 or 5, and he'll be singing Jeezy whole album with me. He riding the hooks the whole way. And he would never curse, never do like nothing wrong. And I'm just like, that boy got good balance, just like naturally. I'm like, he don't get nothing but the worst from me. And I'm like, we Jeezy and Birdman.
But he probably taught you like going to a certain business or something.
Even now,
flip your
he's
switch.
like that. He could be around us in the shop, and he young man, like he 20. I let him be 20 type of thing. But you know how to cut it off and on around people, respect the elders. And it's just like,
And that's great. I have no problem with that. Learn how to cut it off.
And I say that's the problem with the new generation.
They don't.
There's no some people are naturally
don't know about.
Some people have to get taught.
True.
Have to get it taught to them. But it's worse now when they don't have no balance. It's all off. And it's just like, bro, you don't see the room. You like 15 and you carrying on. It's either they over the top or they're in the shell. Because a lot of them, they'll come in there and they'll be how they be, but they get in the shell when they hear a man's voice. So it's like, I'm like, bro, raise your voice, speak up. Good afternoon, good morning. Like, just, you walk.
That's right. My mom used to say, I ain't sleep with you.
That's what mom said. When I wake up with you, I wake up with you.
Yeah,
like,
some people don't even understand. They don't know how to do that.
But that's something that has to be taught. That does, because I see adults do it. And I be grown men, 40 years old, come in the shop, sit down, and we'll look at each other like, he didn't say nothing to us. We ain't gonna say nothing to him. He sat down and got in his phone, and then wonder why he can't get in the chat next.
Right.
Like, bro, address yourself. I come in here. This is my business.
Right.
As soon as I come in here, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Look at everybody, shake a couple of hands, and then I get to work. But I address everybody. But
and that's good that you lead by example.
And that's what it takes, though, and that's what it takes to change it. Because again, some of the younger people, they feel they respect
their elders enough to lead us when we lead by example.
Is earned, you know what I mean, versus given.
No,
and from when we came up, it was given. You know, you ain't got to earn; it's given. But I mean, different mentality.
But they weren't even taught to respect the elders enough for us to lead by example.
And some of them really just don't know, because I've had to tell numerous of my teenage clients, like, look, when you text me or anybody older than you, you know, I'm like, bro, I'm older than your mama. Like, you don't text me and be like, you cutting today? I say, no, you say, good morning, Mr. Kert. Do you have any availabilities today by any chance? Type of thing. I say, you always address somebody older when you texting. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You don't just hit my phone like that. You ain't my age, bro. Like I said, I know cats my age who just cut and they get ignored. And I might know him.
Right.
Like, hey, it's a level of respect you're going to have for my business and my time. And they'll take it. And now you see, good morning, Mr. Kert.
Because you demand the respect.
And it's
you have to demand that respect.
And it's like I know their mothers or their parents, and it's just like, I know you teaching him this, but sometimes it go over their head when mom or dad said they might think mom or dad being extra, but it's like, and Mr. Kert just checked me. And I've gotten text messages from parents be like, I don't know what y'all telling them in there, but I appreciate it. And that's from the fathers and mothers, because it'd be like, for whatever reason, when I tell them that, it don't get through. But y'all said something.
But you know what, though? If they're texting, like, you might tell your child what to do. And, like, my two are like night and day. My daughter, I have to tell her, you know, when she texts her friends, it's all in acronyms and so, whoa. Even when she texts me, ma'am, spell out the sentence, please.
Oh, that's me. I don't know what that means. So therefore,
or the phone is mine.
No, my kids, well, mom, you didn't respond. They'll call me like, why you respond? Because I don't understand that.
Right. And I might understand it, but no. I know you know how to
go to private school for your entire life. I'll send this over here.
But I know, like, my son would be the one, I could tell him what to do, how to do it. But if he thinks that I'm not paying attention or I'm not watching it his way, he's going to try his way. So, I mean.
Listen, someone got to give, because even the emails I get from staff members at jobs, it's like reading a text message. Oh, shit. So I'm like, that's probably my work phone. That's my business line. I'm sorry. It's just, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I get emails that look like text messages. Nobody knows that your name should have a capital.
What you mean nobody knows?
Nobody knows anymore. Because emails, I get emails with no capital letters. No capital letters at all. Nothing.
Even the first word.
Well, you know, nothing.
Or all caps.
Even if you don't know
even when they use the word I, it's a lowercase.
No. Yeah, why not? Yeah, all of that. Lowercase I, all of that.
We're done.
We're done. Everything lowercase. I'm sorry. So is it the school's not teaching that? Are they just don't?
Yeah. Certain things naturally have to get taught at home first. There's a lot of things I knew already upon entering school. Yeah. But school, they don't teach basic life skills in school anymore. They teach standardized test and
Right.
passing a standardized test. Is no, I remember having a class called life management skills. Simple stuff like that.
I had like wood shop and all that. Oh, we had our whole
Yeah, like we had all those classes.
critical thinking.
So
Do you realize how many kids? Critical thinking to me falls up under common. Yes,
that's so common.
that's not common, but they don't teach it anymore.
Right.
And
Right. And they don't teach the cursive handwriting.
No, they don't. So how do you sign your name? Is everything digital?
No, they do it in print. They in manuscript. They teach. No,
I taught mine.
I just shake my head when I see that. I just say, Lord Jesus.
Kids nowadays only know how to tell time off of their phones.
Yep. No, I can't even count.
I seen
Money.
a video like they didn't. Yeah.
You know how much money I've always getting back? It registers when the register ain't working right.
I just saw a video. I was just about to say that. I seen the video. They didn't know how to count change. They were so used to
You're
the
going to
machine.
lose your job because your drawer is going to be short.
So obviously they will never work in banking.
They can't count no more.
So let me ask this then. What are some of the misconceptions people have about hood culture? One,
We just talked about one.
and two, how do we break down the stereotypes aside from it starting at home? Because
I think that's the first place because kids learn everything from their birth till 10 years old from their inside of their home.
But you were fortunate enough to have, although your mother was young, you were fortunate enough to have a mother that had some sense.
And a grandmother.
You know what was so crazy? I asked my biological father that one time. I said, this was when he was locked up. You know, this tale of two dads. One was in prison my whole life. The father who raised me, you know, law enforcement. And I asked the one who was incarcerated, I was like, you know, how were you comfortable doing this much time knowing you had a child? And he was just like, he said, I knew the caliber of woman your mother was at 15 years old. He said, matter of fact, all the women in your family who I knew, he said, I knew she wasn't going to never have you around the wrong type of person. And the time when I got out and I met your stepfather, he said, oh, I knew you was in good hands. Not to give myself an excuse for my wrongdoing. He just said, I knew you was in good hands with her and the type of man your stepfather is. And like you said, the biggest misconception with the hood culture is people on the outside looking in think that's all of us. And I'm like, no, there's really levels to it. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
That's the biggest.
Gotta be so surprised when you open your mouth.
All of us wasn't raised a certain type of way.
And we don't think like that.
Yeah,
No.
all of us don't think a certain type of way. Some of us got exposed early in life. Like I know people who they grew up in what was quote unquote called the hood, but they traveled. It was like,
Absolutely. That was my family.
Yeah, we seen we been.
My
here.
family
I'm just
allowed
like,
us to travel and go
all of
places.
that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's people experienced a lot of things, and that's one of the new things that I like about our culture. We getting out and seeing the world.
Yeah.
I think I posted about that a while ago. I'm just like, you really be getting on these planes and stamping these passports now and experiencing culture around the world,
Right.
type of thing. But that's the biggest misconception, is thinking that we all come from the same tree.
Especially our parents.
We'll be in the same neighborhood and have totally different values
Yes.
and come out the same general neighborhood. Like I tell people, I say Riviera Beach, east of the tracks and west of the tracks is two different cities. People be like, you know, this area over here, this area, and don't get no action. You know, you go east of the tracks and bust a left, you might get a little action back in the day. I remember.
I grew up on 27th and S Avenue and then 33rd and O. I would go to bed hearing gunshots.
But you know, but that's the action area. But you know what?
I grew up on this side.
a dude. I had took a dude. He was from Philadelphia, and he came down here. And he was like, "Man, show me y'all areas, man. Where the hood at, right?" So I started driving him through a few areas that I thought like this our hood. That area that you just said, those areas. He said, "Man, this Niceville." He
Right.
said, "Everybody got a house and got grass." He said, "We don't have this where I'm from."
Right. Nope.
He ain't
Not up north.
He ain't start feeling like he was in the hood until he hit Tamron. He saw Dunbar Village and he was like, yeah. and
That's not even true anymore.
look, I knew.
Right, let's go.
Man, you were like, well, you could drop me off right here. I knew you were looking
Right.
and shoot.
That's and that no longer even exists.
No.
Regentrification is a bitch.
But again, I think those type of neighborhoods are everywhere. You know, like in Boynton, you know, it's like you from this side of the bridge, that side of the bridge.
Yeah.
You know, all the other goes. Yes. Yeah.
It's so crazy. Yeah, tight.
Yeah.
Even Deerfield.
Yeah. Facebook. Yeah, man, you good.
Oh, that was Pompano.
But
Oh,
again,
Pompano.
yeah.
Man, Pompano in my day had this corner called the Ugly Corner.
I never Pompano. Yeah, I knew about Pompano in the 80s.
My sister,
In the car city and all that.
Paula, would always say, because my sister was 12 years older than me. No, 11 years older. She said, don't date no dude from Pompano.
Pompano.
I said, why? Till I met some. I said, oh, sorry, she's from Pompano.
Pompano, one of the cities.
Pompano.
Like,
I never tried that one.
Exactly.
in between is like not Palm Beach, not Broward, it's not Palm Beach, it's not Lauderdale,
Right.
Pompano.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Like,
It's kind
you
of.
know, had a Palm Beach vibe or the.
They never had a party.
It's not,
But yeah, they kind of.
it's different.
Yeah,
Very.
I go there.
Alicia, you never met nobody from Pompano?
No.
I've never dated anybody from there.
No. I didn't date. I just met, and I
Yeah, I know anyone from there. I knew y'all some 80s stories, but that's another show.
and I'm not even talking 80s because I'm an 80s baby, but I'm talking like 2000.
Oh, no.
Well,
I think so.
And I was like, I don't know, that's my sister. I even called her and told her, I was like, girl, I see what you're talking about.
But see, to us, we see the difference. But to somebody that's not from here, you know, South Florida and South Florida,
Yeah.
they lump us all together.
Actually, they love Florida.
All together.
Yeah, well, that's how South Florida. But when you get in Florida, it's like, oh, that's South Florida.
Yeah. Like, there's a difference between Jacksonville
Oh, yeah.
and South Florida.
Yeah, that's a big
There's a difference between Orlando,
Jacksonville is their own
Tampa,
state
and
on their own.
Yeah, I agree. I
Tallahassee, Jacksonville was the one city we did not mix with. Like, we'll link up, like, all the Palm Beach
Right.
united.
Yeah.
Like, that's where you see Belle Glade and Pahokee loving each other in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Like, Delray and Lake Worth and Palm Beach, West Palm and Riviera Beach, all of us united in Tallahassee. For whatever reason, nobody fooled with Jackson.
Something else.
We had homeboys from everywhere, but Duval County, let it be known.
Their hood is
that-
different.
Yeah, they let it be known we don't F with y'all. We don't need y'all, and we'll kill y'all.
Shout out to Jacksonville, though. You still Florida, so Rio got a little weight. But y'all on the whole 9%. Like, provoking.
In South Georgia, we'll call Tallahassee South Georgia. People don't realize Jacksonville is right there, nearly at the state line. They ain't even South Georgia. They Jacksonville. They need to cut them off and build a zone and put a chain around they county line. Because Jacksonville ain't even playing, boy.
I totally agree with you on that one, Kurt.
Switch gears a little bit. How can we have open and honest conversations about sexual health and consent in the Black community?
Oh, that's
Just by saying it.
You think so?
I mean,
Just
having
saying
honest
that.
conversations. Yeah, just be open and honest and
But
truthful.
y'all think everybody open and honest?
you saying.
I mean, how can we make them if they aren't?
I was just about to say.
You
that's
can't
the
make
only thing
somebody,
you can
but
really say.
I think how you can is by Black people educating themselves on sexual health and not demeaning everybody for everything, because not everything is a death sentence.
You ever met a guy that said, we both adults? That like that's the first thing they say. We both adults.
No,
we know in high school.
Exactly. I know I'm 51, so I know I'm an adult. So what does
What's that face with?
No, I'm just saying.
What do
we
you
both
mean by
adults.
that?
So
Say just everything goes. Just
anything goes, like
everything.
I meet you and, we're talking, seems cool. All of a sudden, now you want sex. Off the rip. Well, we both adults.
It's there's such doozy line and so. But let it happen naturally.
I think it depends on the maturity level of that individual. You know what I mean? Because
But it happens.
you're both adults, and I think when you talk about sexual health, no, I'm saying if he just hit you with both adults, it had to be something to lead up to that. So I think it's important to have an open conversation, and y'all talking about the expectations.
I think that's short for a man trying to say, listen, I'm trying to screw.
Let's get
Say, and then say that. And then I can,
but when you say,
that's I want
or either or.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm not on that vibe.
The conversation about sexual health in the community, that's not a community thing. That's more of an individual thing. Because throughout my lifetime, it's just some people are just more open and honest about it, and some people are not. Like, I know guys. I remember one of my homegirls told me one time, she was just like, she was talking about a guy she messed with, and she was just like, for him to have, the ways that he have, said he was the most honest, upfront dude. He was like, look, I'm doing this, but I want to be a certain type of way with you, so we need to go get tested, and we need to check out, and I tell you what I'm doing and how I'm not doing it, but I want to be comfortable with you. And she was like, it was the weirdest thing coming from him because of how he was, but she was like, that led me to be like that with people. And, you get some people who just like, look, I'm going to just protect myself at all costs. I'm not going to get comfortable with everybody. And this is what people don't understand too. That sounds good, but I've had situations where you run into problems even protecting yourself at all costs, because it's like, so you just gonna keep being like this with me, and you're not trusting me even though we got tested, but you still at all costs type of thing.
Why not?
Because you never know. I mean, you might test negative or something.
But if I'm not in a one-on-one relationship with you and we just dating,
but hold
you damn right I'm gonna keep
every time.
Even in a one-on-one relationship, because I've had situations being in that, like, look, I'm being married and still using condoms.
Yeah.
And my whole thing,
that was me.
And my whole thing for it.
But was it for protection from an STD, or was it protection from not wanting a kid?
I didn't want kids.
That was me. That was me.
But yeah, so that's the thing that a lot of people don't talk about, that we don't know that could have went on in households, because I talk to like my homegirls. I got a lot of homegirls, and I ask them candid questions because that's how I am when it comes to them. And it's just like, how you was in a relationship with Buddy that long and you didn't get pregnant? You didn't have and it was just like, I had homegirls be like, look, I know how to not get pregnant. Well, like, you feel me? I'm grown. I know how to not get pregnant.
Yeah.
And then you get the other one like, bro, I done been on birth control so long, I can't even tell you. I can't even remember. Like, and everybody's story be completely different.
Yeah.
I done heard honestly, I thought I couldn't even get pregnant. I went, doing a certain thing a certain way. It's just like, it ain't never happened to me. I done had another one be like, they were dealing with a doctor, and they was like, one time with the doctor being comfortable thinking it's a doctor, got a little STD, and it's just like, bro, like, this a doctor. Like, I'm thinking,
they said no.
But there's levels. But there's levels of STD.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? Like a yeast infection or a, bacterial vaginosis kind of thing. And those are things that men are not affected by. You don't even know you have it as a lady. They don't. Men don't even know that they have it. And it's just, it is what it is. But for me, I said I had a problem because I had a fear of being pregnant again. But it's in fact, I never wanted to be pregnant a third time. And then I did. But I know it was a setup because I got my own shit. I'll put it on myself. And some point on the Hennessy,
See, there you go with that dark. That's why I don't like working the phone. I'm not.
At some point, the rubber disappeared from what, and I know he took it off. Although I was really tipsy.
Come off.
And I said, listen, there's no way I could have got pregnant. And see, part of it too was I've always gotten pregnant on birth control. Damn. Both times. The first 2 times. I was on the shot the second one. First time on the pill.
Damn.
So I was like, yo, what did you do?
Right.
You know, so I know he didn't have kids. Older than me, he wanted kids. I get it. Wow. But I didn't get set. And so after that, I kind of was like, yo, I don't trust you like that no more. So this how we got to do it.
I was the one that didn't think.
Don't touch that stuff.
I thought I couldn't get pregnant.
I got a bottle of house I'm going to have to bring to you. Then somebody left it and I wasn't right.
I thought at 25, by that time, you know, we all go through that phase. Y'all know the phase.
Yes, we did.
I don't know the phase. Tell me about the phase. Tell me about it. Tell me, because we don't know. I know. We don't know. Tell me about the phase. Graduating college?
Yep, man.
Sexual college.
Right. Some people go through that whole phase.
Right.
And
Right.
by the time I was 25, I was like, I didn't get pregnant. I should have. Maybe I can't.
How long never?
First and only time
Without a condom.
with my daughters. No.
Oh,
Huh? I said, wait, how? I'm what? I'm pregnant.
yeah.
First and only time.
You had that old school son.
No, it just line.
Old school. How old was he? He had that old school.
We already talked about this, Kert Harrell.
Yeah, you know me.
We've already discussed it.
It was her. It was.
No, he was because when it wasn't. No. All right. He should have been here.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about the bad sex.
That old school.
Whatever. But the same thing with my son. It wasn't the only time, but it was the first.
Damn.
And in between that time, because it's an 8-year gap, I was on birth control, right? But I don't do well with hormones. So the IUD, the NuvaRing, I didn't do well with any of that. Doc said, okay, well, what do you want to do? I said, nothing. Because I'm not a guinea pig.
Damn.
My son is almost 9. So after that, we're just, that shop is closed.
Having a latex allergy.
Speaking of
And a latex allergy.
that birth control
And the
stuff,
lambskin
right?
is so gross.
Funny story. I don't know if I told it to y'all before here, but my mother, me and my sister, 12-year gap, right? She said, now she had been married to my dad for 2 years by this time, and she was still in her 20s. I think she was like 27. And she was just like, my mother, she's real bright, intelligent, good sense woman, right? She tells me, she was like, look, she said, I had been having some complications with birth control because, I asked her, I'm like, did you never have another baby type of thing? And she was like, damn sure wasn't trying. Now, she was already 12.
Don't nobody be trying to have no babies now, but white women.
She said, we gonna have to hear that one now. Hold up.
What the heck? Michael, can you edit that out?
That's Alex. Oh, that ain't money.
Alex, I'm sorry. Show this one a bloopers.
Right.
That was good.
She told me, she said, I had done been on birth control for so long, nigga, I thought I had some reserve.
That's how you
She
get pregnant quicker.
said the doctor took me off. She said, I be damned. 2 months later.
No.
Hop up here and she
You
said,
get on birth control to get pregnant. For some women that have problems, they get it on for a year, get off, boom.
yeah, and she was just like, she said, I had been taking it so long. She said, well, I'm thinking this gonna be residual left up in me. Like, I had a,
When that thing was ready.
she said,
Right.
immediately, she said, I had been out in 2 months. Went to get a checkup. Doctor like, oh, by the way, congratulations. Congratulations. You're like, yeah, you pregnant.
I know.
But y'all okay, because she said my dad was in the room. And she said that's the only way she made it here. Because her daddy was in the room when the doctor told me.
Lord.
Do y'all think under that whole sexual health and disclosure, because y'all know back in the 90s, a lot of people
Yeah.
with HIV.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Once they may not have looked as if they had it, but they weren't saying anything.
Right.
But now you have to have the conversation of, were you born a man or a woman?
You gotta have that conversation. You gotta know how to understand that type of stuff. Let me see some baby pictures. Let me see some baby.
But why do you have to be deceived? Just be honest from the beginning. You never know. That could just
I put it
be
like
what I'm
this.
into.
I'm a man.
Or not.
And I don't think I have to ever ask anybody were they born a man.
Now you just didn't come across the right one.
Nowadays you do.
But some of those vaginas look real.
Yeah, man. I just
Not even the
it's just
vaginas,
something
it's
that
just-
internally go off in me, man. And I had listen.
They have great drugs.
I had
And they
it,
do
I
not
had it when I was 18
Great
years old. I had that sensor that went off. I remember a show on HBO called Taxi Cab Confession.
Oh yeah.
And I remember like
You was young watching that.
Had no business.
18. I remember walking to the bathroom, and I remember I came out and there was a chick in the taxi talking to her. I'm like, that she look good, and I stopped, and I'm listening to her talk for about 10, 15 seconds, and I'm like, something ain't right with that chick, and I can feel it right on. And I'm like,
But Kurt is more sophisticated now.
More so.
I know, but
It's not even
like
that.
right in this moment, it's like, less than 30 seconds, and I'm just like, that shit, like she might have like she'll like kind of do this. That's what I'm thinking. And literally, right after I thought that, about 5 seconds later, she was like, "Oh, but my boyfriend doesn't even know I was used to be a man." And I was like, "I knew it." Like, God damn it, it's in there. I got the sense.
You got the gate off.
It ain't even that. It's just, it's ways. I like to feel like because of how I am, and I know everybody different, but I like to feel like because of how I am, it's like, you gotta know that shit. It's just certain things about men that's a man, and there's certain things about woman that's a woman.
I feel the same way too.
I just thought, maybe not at first glance.
Really don't lie. Man's ain't gonna lie.
I know. I have seen some women with big hair.
I've seen women with big hair.
And you want to quit away from.
Guess what? I'm not gonna date them. I'm not gonna date them.
And that don't think. Yeah.
I got a manly shoe size. I can see if I wore it like a 7 or an 8. Like, I got a little foot or something.
But okay, most models have big feet.
But there are women that have big size.
I know that. I know that my mom got that. I just bought a pair of shoes for her birthday. Size 10.
So how you just said?
No, it's certain things. It's just certain things.
Yeah, no, it's some of them that are just like, it's amazing to look at them and be like, holy shit.
I have seen some men that I was like,
Yeah.
we're not
Used to be a girl.
Right.
Now, y'all gotta be careful. I think.
I think we'll know once they take their pants
No,
down.
because
But what if they have the surgery?
But that's the surgery, but it's not no real whole minus.
Surgery before they let me
about
baby.
Yeah, you under this.
Really?
no, they're not walking around home.
No.
They get them.
Yeah, you would know like the type of erection they have. It's like different types. Like you could, there's one where you just grab the balls and it goes up.
Right.
There's one like cause I dig deep on stuff. Okay, I for the record, I don't like that.
I wonder, like,
They let me see the baby picture.
No, it's literally the clitoris for a woman.
I'm not mad at that community, period. All I'm saying,
I'm amazed.
I'm amazed, but just be honest.
Yes.
You just never know. It's somebody you may not even expect will take you in.
Right.
Stop making men try to believe you're an actual woman. And that's where the violence, I think, a lot of times takes place when it to trans women.
That or if their friends find out.
Right.
Because sometimes they down with it, they don't care. But them homeboys find out, now they want to kill them.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But you have to be honest where you are, because people at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you one thing about me. I don't care what you do in the privacy of your own home. If that shit don't affect my money, my children, and my life directly, I don't give two fucks.
Yeah.
Facts.
You don't need to say, hi, my name is so-and-so. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just all I care about, if you happy over there and you living your best life and it's not affecting me, do you. And my thing is, if you really comfortable with who you are, you don't have to adjust that to nobody.
Right.
Facts.
But I think there's a level of uneasiness in terms of
I was just about to say
What?
on theirs.
Yeah, because
When
it's not the
it's
norm. So you're uncomfortable of,
Well,
Giving
again,
access
if
to that
they're comfortable
information.
with who they are, they should be comfortable and honest up
Yeah.
front.
But should be.
I was born a woman. Got all my parts. But have you ever, and I don't know, for the guys maybe it's different. Have you ever felt uneasy or uncomfortable about a certain aspect of yourself when it came to dating somebody or getting to know or approaching somebody?
Like a physical aspect?
Like what?
Anything. You might be uncomfortable with, I don't know, how you sound, something about yourself that you don't like. And it might not be an issue.
Well, I can tell you this. When I was, it was around 20 years old when I dropped out of college and had to move back home. I had got into hair school at that time. And I don't feel like it was nothing that I was ever uncomfortable with, but I had a conscious, like, my frame on my position in life at the time. And I was just like, I'm in no position to be entertaining a woman in a certain type of way. I'm like, I'm back, I'm living with my grandmother, sleeping on a pallet in her spare room. I ain't even have a bed, I ain't have a car. Like, I didn't have a job. I'm like, financially, fiscally, I'm not fit for dating. Right. So at that point in time, literally from February of like 2001 until about September, October, I wasn't dating. I was like, I'm on the grind, I'm focused, I'm finishing this school. This the first, one of the first phases I need to complete to get started in my career field type of thing. So I didn't have an insecurity or something that I had a problem with myself. It was just my situation. The plight of my situation. I was like, I need to tighten up, get right now. I'm a young man. By the time I'm, legally able to drink, I need to be I need to drive to the liquor store.
Right.
Around that summertime, I had started working in my field, bought a car, like getting stuff in motion. But that was that one time in life, and I took a hiatus from everything. I wasn't going out on dates. I wasn't sexually active. This was like about 7 months. And I was just on grind mode, focus mode type of thing.
There's not wrong with that. That's called the mature. Or that's called being mature. That's called making the right decision for you.
Oh, I made that decision.
Yeah, that's great.
So the reason I asked that question is it could be they know, or maybe a fear of acceptance, but still be honest.
For who?
So if it was a
Like a
transgender person,
I don't live in that world no more, man. Them people can be how they be.
Yeah. Now when we was growing up, it was a little different.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
They're more in the norm than we are now, I feel like.
At 12, 13, we would have jumped somebody talking about a boy trying to be a girl. We'd have beat their ass. You feel me? Just cause. Just cause you stay in our hood and
It's more popular.
now I see them every day, all day. Not only, I'm still a little old school, so I will be disrespectful. I speak and be like, "What's up, bro?" And he dressed like a whole lady and got hair and got some titties. I be like, "What's happening, bro?" Like, so I need to work on it.
You do.
Yeah, that's
You do, girl. That's you. You do. Right.
And, I know, because, I'm one of those people who like, you be how you be. I'm like, I don't have no problem.
I don't. My daughter is
transgender.
It took me a long time. It took me a minute to get adjusted to that. I did not want her not to be herself because I saw her how unhappy she was not being herself. I allow her to take her moment into being that. And then, so it's still a process because
It's just a habit you got to
I
break.
think that now that she's changed her name, and I said to her, you got to give me a minute. Like, I gave you the name at birth for a reason. I've been calling that 30 years of your life. You got to give me some time to process. And I think sometimes they want to just be who they are and jump into it, but they forget parents have to process that too.
But just know it was a process for their life.
Yeah.
And secret though.
Yeah, we
in
didn't start at the
secret.
same time.
We didn't start it at the same
Let
time.
me ask,
So
did you see any
I
inclination
didn't, not
of it
at,
when
no,
she was
no,
younger?
no, not at all.
Well, that means she was really suppressing it because
Not
I
at
talked to people who got like
I
gay
said,
kids and transgender
dress
kids.
up.
Saw early on.
Then they see that. I remember one lady told me who used to work with me. She said, I wasn't fooling nobody. She said, I seen that shit with my son when he was 3 years old.
No,
Like she said, she saw it. And it was just like, by the time her son was like 20, he was full-fledged dressing like a woman and like carrying and living like a woman. And she was just like, well, that's my girl now. And the two younger siblings like, well, I big brother, I big sister now. Like, and it was, they took it as like a little comical, but it was, there was that family thing. They were still close even through that type of thing. But
I didn't know how to process it, so I just didn't acknowledge. And that may have been the wrong way. I may have made her feel uncomfortable. We're in a good space getting there now. But at the end of the day, I love my daughter. That was never an issue. And I still come for anybody that come for her. And she knows that about me, any of my children. Like, baby, I'll sit in jail and do my time with no problems, with a smile on my face. My booking blotter shall be all smiles with my mask on. However, it was a process for me. I have 2 sons already, and I had a daughter. I didn't get those opportunities to get our nails done together. I'm real girly. And I didn't get that, and that's fine. And that's fine. I love her, and now I see her in a space where she's happy. She's loving who she is, and I'm thankful and happy. She's always had a great heart. She's always been a great, kid. I mean, she was my challenging kid in school. She was the one getting in trouble all the time. But now she's just in a space and place, and I'm happy about it. And now I've never been embarrassed about who she was. Right. I always, I grew up, my Black family is one of those families that be like, and I like, bitch, I will crush you out by my daughter. I made calls in advance. Don't play with me about my daughter.
So what about the whole...
What? Which one?
Grammar.
Oh, I don't think she's at that stage.
Okay.
I mean, she is, and I hope she's not mad at me for speaking.
You haven't said her name.
Well,
I guess
she's done the hormones, so she's suppressed, having a cycle, suppressed, so she has hair growth, like she has beard, all of those things. Which was hard at first to see that, because my daughter was gorgeous, like freaking beautiful, and gorgeous, beautiful hair, like she was, so it was
a process.
It was a process for me. But, just seeing, I know who her heart is, and just seeing, the space and place she's in now, it just gives me a comfort. And that's just where I'm at. And she lives on, like I said, she's 30 years old, honey. Whatever she come before God, and that's what she going to have to discuss with him. And whatever I come before God, I'm going to have to discuss my sins with him. My sins is not going to be my problems. Right.
As tough as it is for a parent to witness and accept that, it's even harder for that individual.
No, I know.
And it's I remember
I know.
When you said that, I asked you a question I immediately thought about when I saw Dwayne Wade in the interview on like a podcast. And he was just like, I remember coming home one day and he was like, my son said something at like 3 or 4 years old. And he was like, my ex-wife looked at me and was like, what you gonna do when he 12? He said, man, we seen that shit when he was 3. He said my dad used to try to get him all the footballs, basketballs, and do all. He was like, wasn't having it. He said we saw it. And he said he was actually embarrassed And he said because of who he was and what he had going on, he said he was leaving his, his child out of family pictures and stuff like that because you could see it. And he was just like, it wasn't until his son was like 8 or 9 years old when he told a teacher, and the teacher had called them in and talked to him, and he was like, damn, he was like, my son got more courage than I do. And he 8, he 9, and he's saying this. And I tell people, I'm like, hormones are a real thing. And we just think because we think along the straight line. Like I say, look, I thank the universe that I don't have any ill balances and stuff. Like I'm not attracted to children. I'm not attracted to the same sex. But it's people out there who, like I said, I seen a show before where a man was 55 years old, successful man, an attorney, had a business, a wife, and he said in front of a camera, a 4-year-old was flirting with him. And I'm like, bro, like, and I'm like, go put his ass to sleep. But they have like, you don't know what's going on in everybody's head. All we can account for is what's going on in our head. You feel me? And like you said, you see your child now, your child is happy.
She is.
And doing everything, like, we'll look at that shit like, man, that ain't the right shit to do with it.
I didn't see it when she was that young. So I didn't see that, and it wasn't present like that when she was that young at all. Like, I don't know if she started suppressing it as she got older or whatever, but it wasn't there, and I didn't see it. But
and your nature is your nature. It don't matter how much nurture you give. No,
and I'm gonna tell you what,
nature outweighs nurture.
I thought that I was so overbearing as a parent because I'm so girly that I did something, and I'm just being transparent. That it was something I did, and then I was like, why does she like men? Like, was she molested? So I'm like, I like this. But although I always kept my children under the same, together with me, like I'm always that protective parent. Yeah. It was me trying to figure out if it was something I did wrong. So what she does not know, now I don't think I've had this conversation with her, I'm being transparent right now, it was also when she decided to go full forward, it was also a very hard battle for me because I was trying to question as a parent, what did I do? Because I was always putting her in girly ballet and dresses. And, she never said, Mom, I don't want to wear it. She never said that. So I'm like, because our relationship really got bad at one, but it wasn't because of that. Our relationship got bad because of the choices she was making when it came to, because my daughter is one of those smart kids that don't even have to study but make an A on the test. Yeah. And I felt like she wasn't pushing her, giving her potential. And it angered me because I knew how smart she was. Right. And it angered me the direction she was going. When she could have been valedictorian of her university, she could have been boom, boom. That was who she was, and she was. But she had an internal battle. But she had an internal, and I didn't know it at the time.
Tiffany, one thing that I'm learning as a parent, even though my daughter is 16, my son is 8, somebody had to tell me, and this has nothing to do with gender roles or anything like that, but just as a parent and your children go through things, we tend to make it about us. I'm learning that. Yeah. Because when I react or I say certain things or I think it's supposed to be a certain way, I'm making it about me instead of has nothing to do with me. It's her. So that's I do wish I was there for her better in that way, but she, I hope I didn't know how to be. Right. They think we wake up and it's like a thing that says, ding, ding, yeah. It's hard in the midst of, it's difficult. It's very, very difficult.
One thing I do admire about that particular community is the support that
the closest is support.
Because like you back in the day,
was shot.
Had that. Imagine
a person with
a heterosexual woman having that kind of
that could be very difficult. And what happened, when you do have, you only like we was in high school, you only maybe knew like 2 people in the whole school.
I was about to say,
and that's why I always support out. Yeah.
So it was like to come out, but
that is
they were still always there. They just was afraid.
Right. That is why I will always support that community because I feel like the community gave my daughter a way of expressing herself
Absolutely.
and being secure in it.
Absolutely.
So hands down, I will always support them.
People are people.
People are people.
Yes, good
You know,
and bad.
there's
And
good
only
and
thing
bad.
I do say, like when it comes to that, especially some of the guys, like I just want to be respected as a man, and I respect them. Like I still struggle with like saying her or something like that.
That'd be my.
So that I'm telling them that I do.
And I
have, you know.
fail in that part when I talk to
Like
her.
when I see
And I don't know if it makes her uncomfortable,
what's the name?
but I do fail in it.
Kate,
Ask her.
Bruce
I
Jones.
would.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm watching the interview, and it's just like I have empathy for someone. I'm sitting here listening to his story, and I'm like, damn, like I understand, but I don't have to go through that. And it's just like I couldn't imagine feeling like I want to be something else my whole life, but because of how I was raised, the era, how I grew up, and then even furthermore, this a double dose on it because I done seen these stories too. It's like he felt like he wanted to be a woman, but was never attracted to a man. So now you're a transgender lesbian.
Right.
You so like you're so tame. You like that tame. But you want to be a woman. Like that's got to be a lot. But to see him give an interview and he just like, in just total bliss. Huh? You see, that's hard, man. Bruce, like, God damn, Bruce. Boy, I still remember Bruce on the Wheaties box.
Right.
Like, that white boy bad. Like,
I want to say this.
he's got 10 kids.
One of the things I was hesitant to is because I know how tough it is for Black people in this world,
Yeah.
in this America, how tough it is for Black women in this America. And now my daughter wants to be a man. So now she's going to have a triple dose. And that was one of the things I did not want her to have to battle with.
That struggle.
That struggle. She has a triple dose of struggle.
Well, there are still some people who don't agree with it's a lot of alphabets.
No, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, right.
So then there's 4.
Don't get me wrong. I'm very confused about the alphabet.
Yeah, I don't.
The alphabets have their internal struggles.
I don't understand. I think they're confused too because I think
Yes, I don't know that.
because I thought bi was that you like men and women, and then I heard fluid, and I'm thinking, isn't that what fluid is? That you like men? They've just added on so many things, and it's just gotten so confused. You'll even hear some of they're a little confused as the
It was only 3 back in the day.
I remember 3.
They're bi. There was nothing else.
What's the name? Who I was just talking about, Caitlin, was just like they had a problem with him saying that he was just like, look, if you were born a man, you don't compete with women. If you was born a woman, you can't compete with men. He was like, because of he was a professional athlete, he was just like, yeah, nah.
No hormones are real.
He said if that's the case, then let LeBron James compete in all. It would have somebody like LeBron compete in all of the women's events. He said he gonna get gold and everything every year.
Because that's
he said
testosterone.
Yeah, he draw the line with that. He said the community like really lashed out at him for that. He was just like, look, man, shouldn't no men be competing with no women. It's gonna be too lopsided. You feel me?
And what about the jails though? That's another one. No, because they got some that's saying that they have the charge.
I know y'all heard about the New York.
That was not.
That was incredible.
I seen this. I seen speaking of New York. I seen this rapper put up a post on Instagram. He's like, "Yo, this crazy." He was in a bathroom, and men and women was in the bathroom. He said he was laughing. He said, "Yo, this should not be allowed." And it's a rapper. This like a hood rapper. He in the bathroom, and it's
It's the time and place.
white women in there,
I think it's the time.
men coming in and out. And it's just
But
like,
that
he
clothes coming in the bed.
If you're at the mall, then there should be a bathroom for them specifically.
But they want to be seen as
But at the mall, there's a little. We still have to remember they are children.
I get what you're saying.
club, I done seen women come in the men's bathroom. They say our bathroom clean.
It's a lie. I've gone to unisex bathrooms in the club. It is what it is. But in things, because people have to remember there are some sick mofos out
Yeah.
that will dress up like a woman in order to rape a little girl or a woman. And I'm sorry, it's a fact. There are some men that will do that just so they can get their rocks off. and that will taint both sides of it.
Absolutely.
So at some point, I think that we should have a separate bathroom. If you're okay with that, anybody can go in. And just like I go in the family bathroom, if the women's bathroom too full, you know what I mean?
I go in the family bathroom because
If the women's too full, I've done that. Have my girlfriend watch the. You know, I've done that. But we have to remember that there are kids, and they don't need to see that at a young age. They haven't,
but they're teaching it at school.
But right, and I don't think that's. I think kids have a lot already to learn, and I think that's something they can learn later in life.
I feel
That's
how
fine.
you look, you can go to that bathroom for the most part. Like, 'cause it would look kind of creepy if you see somebody with long hair in the bathroom standing up peeing, you know.
Right.
You may want to go to this way, you know. So,
And that,
I think that makes it black and white when you say like how you look. That's because we get confused if you're looking like a woman. How are you supposed to say
But what if they have not had the surgery?
Well, you don't have to.
no, if they haven't had the surgery,
But they
No.
but they can scorch up.
But if they look like a woman and have a penis, you need to go in the women's bathroom.
But no, the men's bathroom has person stalls as well. So you still can go.
I think how do you that's how you should get dressed.
Tiffany, I've never been in the men's.
I have.
It's urinals and there's
Far as my knowledge, this the only country that's going on. That's what's crazy.
When the bathroom stall with the door locks, I already, like I said, I bring somebody with me. I've dated guys, and I'm like, the bathroom, I'm going to the bathroom with you.
I done took women in the club bathroom, like in the men's bathroom. You like, take me in y'all bathroom. And then all it take is you take one woman in there, and next thing you know, it's a line of women. It's like, oh, damn, it's 7 women waiting to use our bathroom now.
Listen, no disrespect, how we may be.
I done been in the bathroom using it, women at the door, like banging at the stall door.
I mean, we still have men and women bathrooms. So now they want us to be allowed to go in whichever. We still have men and women bathrooms. It's not like all the bathrooms now are unisex.
True.
So
That's crazy. we really dealing with this in this country. I just said, I'm like, to my knowledge, this is the only country we deal with this in. This country is the only country.
land of the free.
land of the free, right? And not really free. Not really free, but you know, all they say, right? Whatever they say.
So I'm gonna switch it up. Not really, but really. How does the culture of hookup and casual sex impact a person's desire for monogamy?
Huge. I'm gonna go first on this.
I think it depends on the person's core character traits and their morals and ethics.
I don't even think it's that anymore. I think that men and women are different in this aspect. I think
How so?
I think men have an easier way in this, and women have made it so easy for men that they don't have to be monogamy. And women, because they want to be with that man so much, they will comply to something they would never do or don't want to do, just so they can be with that man and get into all kinds of situations that they really don't want to be in, just to be with that man. Men have so many options right now that women don't necessarily. I know I'm wrong. As women, we can choose to do what we want to do. Great. But a lot of women would rather be in a monogamy situation. And don't get me wrong, there's this percentile of women say, no, I don't. And cool, but the majority want to be in a monogamy situation. But you guys have it where these young girls, they open for anything, baby.
They get the bag.
Long as you're taking care of them bills, and then you buying bags.
Are we talking about a specific age group too? Because
that's what I was about to say. The young, that's what I said. The young girls.
They
That's
outside.
What I said. The young girls, they are right. They out.
These young girls breaking hearts.
Older men are now have gotten into that. Like men my age, shit, they look at me. You look good for your age, Sydney, but we over here because she letting me I'm doing threesomes, I'm doing all kind of things, and it calls in my bag ain't hit that hard as it would be with you with a more,
They don't. But don't talk.
Yeah.
So you guys have like a
the young girls get with the old heads because, like you said, they do what they want to do while they with the old heads.
Yeah.
They'll get an old head a little bit of excitement, but they still dealing with the dudes who in their age group who the old heads don't have no idea who they are.
They ain't got no money. They got 401k.
Dude 50 years old dealing with somebody 29 Oh yeah, she feasting on the dudes 28 to 35.
And that's why the guy.
But she go home every night to the old head. Maneuver how he maneuver, but hey,
Listen, and then when the old
dirty
heads,
gang.
that's why when the old heads get tired of the young girls, because most of these old heads now got 2 sets of keys. They got the adult,
Them babies.
because they were like young girls. Then they want to come back to us with these little babies, and I'm like, no, sir. Can't go back.
Why you making that face, Alexis? Nobody enough. Nobody.
I don't do baby mama drama, and when I want to fly off somewhere, if your ass that's your weekend,
You gone.
we're not doing. Yeah, I'm over that. But that's what's going on. So for women my age, it's hard out here for us. It's hard out here for us.
I think it's hard for good quality women, period.
Well, I'm not. Yeah, I agree. I agree, but I'm
Don't
saying
matter.
even harder for my age.
Gotcha.
Because it's rare that we want to date younger. And
I told you I'm still struggling with that.
Y'all thought the cat.
I can't. And
I've never
Right.
tried it, but I'm just saying.
right. So when we want somebody,
Would you recommend?
Why would I want to give away?
Would you recommend?
I've never tried.
Oh, you never? I up every night, all night with no stress, or a lace front here, some nails here,
Last
I think
chin, maybe a little, Gucci bag. Whereas over here, boo, you got 3 house mortgages, you got car, you got all this extras, and then I got to work for the pussy.
I got a real deal.
Oh, my bad. Right. Work for it. Over here, shit, they bending over at the club. I used to
We don't even get taught. These kids aren't getting taught they're not even getting taught the culture of marriage and monogamy anymore. Nobody's teaching that. It's just kind of like you have people who I assume was married because they got grown kids and been together for 20 years and they still not married. And if you ask the woman why you're not married, it's just like, shit,
Because men dictate marriage, women don't.
That's true, but sometimes you get a lot of women who was like, we're finna marry his ass, like, and it's like,
That's 20 years.
But why?
that's how I be thinking.
That's bullshit. That's her defense mechanism.
Nothing.
No, that's her defense mechanism. That's her trying to
She a flagged on the obituary.
You want it like the fool.
Yeah.
So that's not
on
now.
No, that you wanted one
One that got 20 years old.
That's
He out here doing his thing.
She wanted that
Stay too. Bullshit. That's bullshit.
She wanted that marriage stay too when she met him.
But hold on.
Those a lie.
We're talking about monogamy. If he's monogamous and she's monogamous, other than money, like, why wouldn't you?
Why would you?
Okay,
Want to marry
why
something
you
like
should get married.
Because one person isn't monogamous. I get
exactly.
Right.
That's why I said if both of them are,
Well,
other than money,
I think men don't hurry to marry because they're with someone that treats them good and they like them, but she's not the one. So they keep the relationship, they keep you a whole, knowing they know you're not the one. So that they can continue to look for the one until they find. Then when they find her, it's been no women tell you, 20 years with this nigga and he'll go marry somebody a year later.
Yeah, 3
You know what I'm
months.
saying? Never married you. And 3, right. And and that's because they always knew that you weren't the one, but you were a good woman. And they knew that.
She tapped that.
wait,
So
I was just joking.
this is why I continuously tell my sisters, do the same thing they do. Don't tie yourself down to a situation till a man comes to you and say, hey, this is what I want. This is where because men, y'all know what y'all want.
No.
But I feel like if it's not what you want, cut it off so you can move on. Don't sit in it, waiting
Don't
and
sit in it and keep waiting.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I'ma
Get out
tell
of
you.
it.
it's not what you want. It's never gonna turn into what you want. So just stop.
Date him and date other people.
But we not designed that way. You're gonna be falling in love.
Better go on now. Not your feelings gonna be hurt.
No.
Hold on. You better.
Nah, I give you this much. With dating today, all the variables are involved and on the table. It's not like when our parents was growing up, how things seemed and how you just settle down with somebody. So what happens is you have men and women being more like, I guess, honed in on things that they like, don't like. Everybody, I think everybody is out for things to seem almost perfect, and that's not a realistic thing.
No.
You know, I don't, outside of myself, I don't know anybody else, any other man that be like, look, let me do the scale. I like A, B, C, D. You feel me? It's like, okay, she's 70-30. She winning right now. And then marriage has to be something that most people talk about and like bring up and initiate. You know, people, you know, some people never talk about marriage, male or female, but these women are on that.
Let me tell you something, Beth. I done tell my sisters, don't let your boyfriend stop you from getting your husband.
But then what happens?
Block you from your husband.
See, but then what happens with that, Tiffany? That's not an actual resolution to the problem, because now you have women who just dating, and they get lost in they get lost in the cycle.
What do you mean?
But listen is what I said. Men do it every day. Y'all don't judge us the way we'll judge y'all. Like how Ricky just said, your value going down when the dude be like, oh, she just out here dating. And then
that was one of the questions from last week. What is the definition of dating?
I'm not saying you screwing. So you're
no, it's not. No, it's not. Stop right there, because listen, because I'm one of those people. I'll tell somebody I'm dating. There's plenty of people I dated I've never had sex with. I'm one of those men don't have a problem with that.
Went on a few dates with somebody else.
I'm just giving you a little barbershop game right now, and I'm
see you with different men all the time. That's what you're referring to?
Tiffany, I'm being transparent right now. When men see women with multiple men on a regular basis, they automatically think that's what it is. Even if it's not, you may know that, you may know that. But when men see you, oh, I saw her on a date with Kert in March, and I saw her on a date with Ricky in April. She fucking Ricky and Kert. Excuse my language.
No, I get it.
When men, it's just some men, everybody has a different skill. And I literally just did a TikTok about this the other day with all these dating experts and relationship people. It's all about your cup of tea, your palate, what makes you happy at the end of the day. And as a whole, collectively, women dating the same way men do, that don't solve the marriage problem, and the monogamy is just going to have a bunch of us out here just dating until we die.
Okay, so
pretty much.
So
you feel me?
So let me ask you this. So as women, we meet a Ricky.
Yeah.
We date a Ricky. A year go by, 2 years go by, 3 years go by. Now Ricky is dating us, but Ricky also go out with other women. We don't know that because Ricky's not really divulging that to us. But we sitting waiting on Ricky year after year after year. Then we break up. Wait now, we break up. Hold on.
Yeah, we sleeping.
I was sleeping with Ricky. You can't. After about 2 years,
just sleeping with him.
We scroll.
Is Ricky sleeping with whoever?
It probably is. What man ain't? But what I'm saying is, then Ricky decides, oh, I don't want you no more. I'm going over here. You done gave Ricky 3 years of your life. And that's where the bitterness and the anger. And this is what I'm trying to get women to stop being bitter and angry with a man. Mm-hmm. He didn't tell you to wait on him. You chose that. Now you bitter and angry. You busting tires. You cussing out. You on social media, blasting Ricky business out there. You approaching Ricky in public and acting foolish.
You just happen to be
I'm sorry. Just so all of it is for women not to be hurt like that.
Yeah.
And truth be told, like I said, if a man ain't tell you that, then why are you believing it?
That's true, right there.
Right. But for women not to feel like, don't put all your eggs in one.
But I agree with you, but I feel like instead of waiting 3 years on Ricky, you knew 6 months in. Leave Ricky alone.
I know that because Ricky.
But no, you know. You know. No, you know. It don't. You know. I know.
Good.
Yeah. You know what I'm gonna say.
But that's not all. That's not the only thing I need from Ricky though. Me and Ricky should have been talking about marriage.
That's what we was on that.
That's what I thought.
You know.
But you see how it is. 6 months, she know you like 6 months ain't enough for me, and Alexis like, yeah, I'm gonna need at least a year.
But it's either progressing up or it's staying plateau.
But
Even if it's progressing, that doesn't mean Ricky wants to marry you.
But I'm having a conversation with Ricky.
you know
from
what
the
this
beginning.
is like?
I want to get
It's almost like when we.
If we're being open,
Well, they're not scared.
I'm not.
Yeah,
No,
Hey.
6 months. 6 months in, we having this conversation.
I know.
But I'm saying, hold on.
One at a time.
Hold on. Wait. Having a conversation saying I want to marry Ricky is different from do you want to get married, Ricky?
That should be the question.
So that's what I'm referring to. I'm not saying I don't know if I want to marry Ricky in 6 months, but I'm saying we should have that conversation. Are you willing to get married? No, I want to get married.
Or how do you feel about it?
How you feeling? Yeah.
Yes.
Because
No, you want to
people
marry me
always text
because
me that I've been divorced twice, and I'm like, I'm not against
I'm
marriage
saying,
at all.
So if we haven't had that conversation 6 months in, or we've had it, and you're like, I don't ever want to get married, and that's something I absolutely want to do, we don't need to be dealing with each other. I'm not dealing with you for 5 years and you fucking and sucking, and I'm fucking and sucking. Like, what's the point of that?
But he might say, yeah, I do want to get married or something, but they don't, because as women, we
But you
sometimes
figure it
say,
out, right?
Oh, he wants to marry me.
But you can figure that out in a year, right? Can you figure that out in a year or 5 years? It take you 5 years to figure that out?
It can take a long time.
No, 5 years? Don't me out. I'm not. Unfortunately, listen. I just turned 43. I just turned 43, and I've known every relationship I've been in. I've known.
Like if you wanted to marry them, or if it was going
Vice
somewhere.
versa. We've had a conversation about marriage. First of all, I'm having a conversation about marriage because I absolutely want to get married.
But you say like 6 months.
I'm having that conversation. We're getting to know each other. How do you feel about marriage? Blah, 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 blah. Right? So when I was younger, yes. Maybe that's why I am the way I am now. When I was younger, I stayed in stuff, hoping and wishing. You know?
Would change.
But now it's just at 43.
Yeah, and it's a different ball game right now. And I guess the time, cause the times, see, when you was younger, you had a lot of games. You had more of the games. See,
But I look at it like, am I able to live with all these characteristics, his morals and ethics for the rest of my life? If I can't, bye, Ricky.
But you know what? Now, I told you I've been engaged 3 times. If a guy approached me now after a couple of weeks or months and said, Alexis, I would want to marry you, I'm going to be like,
That's a red flag.
I think about this.
Right.
You would think it's a red flag, but I just had this conversation with my mom. She said my stepdad told her after 2 weeks of dating that he wanted to be married. And she said she thought he was desperate. But that was her perception because of her experience. So because but when I tell you, but my stepdad was the absolute epitome of a good man.
Yeah, that father was.
Oh my God. He was a good man. And I'm just like,
explain to the folks. I get that.
You've been engaged 3 times.
Oh Lord,
I see it. Yeah. So got there.
I think that calling it off. You need to advise somebody where you are. You dating, with the look of being in a relationship.
Yeah.
Tell them up front. If you just dating out here, you just want some fall under. You say that. If you say, listen, I'm dating because I'm trying to be in a relationship. You get that disclaimer up front, and then people can part ways. But there are some men that want to slay you so bad, he'll pretend to be that to get what.
I agree.
But if women,
And that's not fair.
Yeah. Both just bad in a love
and they just want a sponsor.
Well,
No, I agree. They want a sponsor, and I agree. And that's so good that they'll change your mind.
But the thing I feel like in those cases, like, get somebody that will want to sponsor you freely without any expectations after that. Find your pot to your lid. I mean, the lid to your pot, right? It doesn't matter. Just find a person that matches that, what you want, and vice versa.
To that, one, we just in like real effed up times of dating. That's one because everybody dealing with so many emotional scars. Like you said, you've been engaged 3 times. Ricky, you've been married before. I've been married twice. You've been married. You haven't been married. And it's like we all have a different outlook on this. Just like I'm not against marriage, even after 2 failed marriages, but I'm still like, okay, I'm crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's now. So I'm more stringent with my, I guess, how I approach it. You, like you said, I did certain things when I was younger. Now I'm talking about it right off the bat. I asked you, like you said, you're not dealing with the little kids, like you in the age where it's like, you not even thinking about somebody who probably 15 years younger than you. That don't even make sense. But the guys who your age got the older kids who grown and might mess around and had a 3 or 4-year-old, and you're like, yeah, I'm dealing with that. So it's just like, it's so many variables now with dating, with marriage. It's just like, it's not as cut and dry anymore how it used to be. The world isn't cut and dry. The world has so much access for everybody. My grandmother, them, they didn't necessarily have to work. You feel me? But they had to put up with a lot of shit. You feel me? Now everybody goes to work. Everybody see her that work boyfriend and work husband. That's the real thing. You feel me? You don't have to ever have sex with him. You don't have to have sex with a work husband, but still be in love with a work husband, because he does everything that your husband doesn't do, whether you tell him.
I don't know about that love.
Be allowed.
Well, to the certain extent, I know what
y'all
you mean.
won't say it because y'all got a level of
It's like them like that, right?
But I've known people who have. You feel me? And it's so many variables involved in relationships now. It's just like, I think people are like in general just lost, male and female, because you have women who date people and they might be just dating them because it look good on the gram. It look good on social media. Then you have relationships that form out of, I teach her a goddamn lesson. I get her ex. I get her baby daddy, or vice versa. Then you have dudes who want to date somebody just because, she the flyest thing around. So I'm going to get her, spoil her, treat her. And it's, it trickles up. These from the younger people. And I'm 43 now. The younger people are 35 still. The people who I be like, they jits. They still 35, 36, 37. But they the jits now. But they don't even be thinking about my partners who like 35, 36. They're not even thinking about marriage. And they'll be in the household with women, have kids, and they just living. And it's just like, I'd be scared to even ask the question now. Because it's like, yo, y'all ever talk about marriage? And it's like, marriage? No, we planning a trip though. Like,
Y'all.
yeah, you gonna take them to Egypt.
Yeah. But you know what? I didn't know I was getting that out. You don't got no life insurance. Now you gotta go fund me.
Relationships
boyfriend
like that.
You gotta life insurance. Nothing. You gotta all go for
Relationships like that where they live together for so long without any sort of commitment.
Yeah.
I think once they do, it doesn't work.
It doesn't.
But to me, I feel like that's just a piece of paper at that moment.
Those be the relationships when
unless one person is tricky.
and that married to the next woman and she leave and get married to the next dude immediately. Both of them, if they separate right now, they'll both probably be married within 2 years, type of thing. Some people,
I don't want to be a special friend on an obituary.
Listen, and I don't want your kids kicking me out of our house.
Right. I've been living here. Oh,
That happened to one of my mama friends.
really?
Not only did she had been with him for like 40 years, 50 years. As soon as he died, them kids kicked her ass out.
And I just told a friend of mine, he said to me, I don't know if I want to be married. He's been married twice. And he's a good friend of mine. And I was like, yeah. And I said, let me tell you something. Any woman you get with, unless what you need, if you don't want to be married, you tell her that and you get that paperwork right. Yeah. Because if you have a stroke, ain't unable to speak or anything to that factor, and you get to the hospital, she cannot help you. They will not allow her
They won't listen.
They will not listen. And your kids may have been grown and gone and ain't living there, so they don't know the conversations you all and what they want or what you may have want.
Yep.
They're going to come and do whatever they want to do. And she's been there taking care of you. That paper. If you don't want to get married, at least put that paperwork in place.
Put my name on everything.
Put that paperwork in place.
Especially if, I mean, you look at how people are dying.
Oh, yeah, younger to young. Yeah, I had so many.
But again, I think that's another conversation like to have, because do she really want to get married for the love, or does she want to get her name on something for her security?
Well, it depends on if she comes into it with something.
No,
If you got
like
something.
for the woman, like you said, to prevent this situation. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that could work for both. It could work for both people.
I know some men
It's
be
called
like, I don't want to marry, but I want to make sure she's always okay.
And she always open it. Right. She's been there fighting just to say I have a friend who
All
will
it take
give a
is a
thought.
name on the policy.
Hold a thought.
Name on the policy. You
And
don't have to
maybe
have
only
one
take-
policy. I think
Right.
you
You
got
can have
six
5
now.
policies. Right.
Yeah,
At
that's
least
the way
we
it's like.
something.
But if we shared this home for 20, 30 years, if you pass away,
She
why
should
should I not get that? That's not
Okay, but see, that's not. That has nothing to do with love. That's a whole business transaction.
Yes, so let's sign this paper.
But and so
that's
I have
why I
a friend
say-
that views marriage as a business.
Some parts of it is.
A lot of parts, half of it is.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
love and business.
But I'm huge on, I don't have a problem with prenups. I tell people all the time, women get your prenup, men get your prenup.
Yes.
Or do the prenup enough that it benefits both parties at
Do
the
it.
end of
Well,
the
if you ain't got nothing,
Do it, trust me. No, that's what people don't understand. You can have a prenup set in place. It don't matter if you have anything or not. You can have a prenup for stuff that, future stuff.
Yeah.
You feel me? You can have living wills and trust. I just seen a video on IG with his dad was telling his daughter, he was like, look, this what, she was like, what you going over? And he had a big book. He was like, this is my trust. And he start talking to her about the properties he have and this and that. And her boyfriend was in the yard playing with the dog. And he was just like, he don't get nothing right now. She's like, now when he your husband, he in here. Y'all children already straight. If he has something, he said, when he your boo, yeah, he don't get nothing by being your boo. And he screamed out to him. He was like, hey, boo, when your husband, you in here. You in this book.
Yeah.
But
I saw him.
you like, you don't get that right now. But he was like, this is a real thing. And it was just like, the caption on it was like, more families need to have this type of conversation.
Right. I agree.
You feel me? Because you never know what your parents have or don't have. I'm the oldest. So my mother talks to me a lot about things. My father had 4 kids with his first wife, but I'm still basically the beneficiary over everything because they know, I'm the one with the most sense who's going to make sure for
Do they
everybody.
know that, or are you just telling them live on?
It's kind of everybody know that.
Oh, okay.
My stepbrothers, we all actually have a natural chain of command.
Okay.
Just like if something happened to our parents, say, plane crash or something, they like, he's the oldest. They'll be looking at me like, how is everything worked out? They won't even know about stuff, but they'll know that it's gonna go through him first because
That's
he's the
the
oldest.
weddings bring out the worst.
Oh,
We
yes.
have,
but
yeah.
it's reverse for me.
Yeah, we have a definite chain of command. It's like they know it's just like my brother can pull up in the car and he'll get out of both of the ones in the front and get out like, bro, you want to drive or you want to sit in the front because you the oldest. And we're literally stair steps type of thing. And we don't have that enough.
Yeah.
We don't. My parents, anytime my parents go out of the country, I get a phone call, be like, look, this is this, that's what's here, this is that account. You have this, your sister had that, you divvy that up between your brothers. Don't touch none of that because they go to his first set of kids. Like my mom is like, and I'm like, bro, like y'all going on vacation. But it's real life.
You don't
Like that.
never know.
He might not come back. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about this shit right now. But that's how my mother has always been. I remember at my grandmother's funeral, her mother, we was literally at the burial site and she leaned over to me. She said, where you want to be buried? Next to your grandma, your great granddaddy, over there with me and your daddy. And I'm like, dirt on my grandma. She's like, well, it's real life.
Yeah.
We don't like talking about
You want to be buried by your grandma and your great granddaddy, or you want to be buried over there with me and your daddy? Which one?
Cremate.
That's what I said. I told my kids. That's why I said, take maybe everything. I kids cremate me, take the money, buy you some tickets to Paris, throw my ashes in Paris, and use the rest, whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
Well, then I'm Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say what I think is important too. I think just changing the narrative to our young people, letting them know how important marriage is, and also talk about the benefits. Because I think many times we be lost in
That's the
It's
biggest
bad
thing.
examples.
all
It is bad.
confusion, and we really don't ever talk about what the benefits. Because of course, there's some work involved, and I think that's for the people that fall short in it.
Yeah.
They don't want to put the work in it because being married is a working relationship. You know what I'm saying, on both ends. And I think if both parties understand the work that it takes to put in and the effort, and they're willing to put that in, it's a beautiful thing. But we really don't broadcast that as much. We always talk about the negative aspect of it. So we really gotta
But people don't also broadcast. And me and my mother just had this conversation this past weekend. People don't generally accept that people do change
Right.
and people grow, and,
Right.
and that's a real thing. The person who you married 12 years ago
May not be
a
the
totally
person.
different person.
That's right.
And if you're not growing with them and
It's
learning,
never gonna work.
right now I got about 4 or 5 situations around me with people I know that going through a divorce. I just had a friend of mine talk to me for about 30 minutes on the phone this morning. He was just like, I don't mean to sound, no type of way. He said, but I know you've experienced this. And he just wanted to basically vent to me and talk to me about his transition. He was like, this is something that I never thought I'd have to go through.
Right.
And he had that type of mentality about him getting married. And me, when I went into my marriages, it was just like, yo, if, shit hit the fan, this ain't nothing but a piece of paper. I ain't got no kids, no property. Like, I understood my out was easier than other people's out. But then I see people who got property, got children, got time, like, it is just like, yo, this different.
Well, a large part of divorce has to do with who still has feelings and who doesn't.
Yeah.
People with feelings make divorce very difficult, unbearable.
I
But when you no longer have that feeling in there, it's easy. You can have this back. You can have it all.
listen.
You know what I mean? I'm good.
I got a story for that, right? That's so funny you would say that.
No. I need to eat dinner. Oh no,
Check it out.
I never eat dinner.
Listen, it's what you just said. It's just what you said. It's easier when people don't have feelings involved. When I got my first divorce, right? I went to court. I intentionally told her she didn't have to be there because I knew this was like a whole year after our separation. The morning I called her and told her, she was still trying to talk to me like, you don't know what may happen with us, Kert. We might get back together and this and that. This was her talking to me in her garage because her boyfriend was in the bed and she didn't want him to hear. Right? So when I went in, exactly. So when I went in the courtroom, right, it was a couple in there. They was finally getting married. She was with her significant other. He was with his significant other. And it was all fun because they had been separated for years, just never legally got divorced. Finally got divorced. They all left out together and was going out to eat. The husband and his new person and the wife and her new person. Then I seen people in there who, when the judge asked them both the question if they agreed to the divorce, everybody like voice shaking and cracking, and it's just like they ordered the mediation. I was like, yo, they don't grant divorces if both people ain't. So I was so glad that she wasn't there because I'm like, if she would have said what she said to me in front of the judge, they wouldn't have granted my divorce. Some people was just like, they wanted they maiden name back, and some people was like, no, I got too much stuff in my married name.
That was me.
You had men who was just like, oh, they want they name back. Like, it's like, bro, she ain't the only person with that last name. Like, relax. It's just a name.
You don't even know what that
I'm
is.
like, you feel me? So, but that was a good one.
Not knock yourself out.
But everybody in that courtroom that morning had a different type of vibe and the feeling about what they wanted. Let's get on out of here. Rap.
Yeah, that's the story, man.
Damn, the chair gonna break us out.
Is that you were so on the right story? Like,
But everybody has something different going on with their feelings about getting a divorce. Some people just feel like I didn't get married to get a divorce, so they don't think it's a logical thing to do. And that my parents was just like, hey man, somebody blocking your light, cut your losses and move on. That's how they work. Cut your losses.
Absolutely. Life too short.
Yeah, definitely. Always
Get out that
talk
thing.
and be unhappy. Who's doing that?
Get out that thing.
You only get one life, and life is short, and you can stay in something and be unhappy if you want, or you can move on and find happy.
And there's no time frame.
No.
At all. I tell people that quit giving yourself them time restrictions. You on your own clock. Everybody's on their own individual clock.
Definitely.
That was my last question.
All right.
I'm going to save these other ones for later. Yes.
But if I get married again, we going to hell together. I'm like Trick Daddy. I ain't letting you go now. You have your boyfriend, but you got to come on home. Like you get going to hell together.
That's why I said, like, I'm with my engaged doctor is doing this. I don't believe in divorce.
Like I'm not.
Married once.
She be like, I ain't happy. I'm like, you better find happiness. Make yourself.
I would do it, but like I said, with my engagements, I realized
How many?
That wasn't one.
3.
Oh, what you doing?
They wasn't the right one. Huh?
I was engaged and once and then married.
What you doing?
3.
Marriage is scary as hell. I'm not.
Just hard work.
but I'm that person that when if I marry you, if I go through it and not call it off.
The runaway part.
I might be, but I'm like that. We married till death.
Even if you're not happy, just
I'm
not
not-
working.
No. There's growth, right? So if I make that decision to go, no, we're gonna work on this together.
Let's.
I'm not gonna be happy every day.
Yeah.
The biggest thing about marriage nowadays is the thought and the idea of marriage has not been updated to where we are now as a society.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it depends
People
on
still
each
a lot
partnership.
of
Which
It's different for it may be different for me versus you.
Yes,
It's just
they hang
different.
their
Just keep
marriage
it between each other, sacred,
how they
and we're
grew up. Yeah, and they some people is how they grew up. Some people is how they see it in the world type of thing. And marriage just has not been updated. Marriage is very much a business. It's very much an understanding that this is a person who, if you have children with, you're gonna have to deal with that, you know, whether y'all are married or not. And that's a real thing, because if you separate or get divorced, it's gonna be conversations of who the child should be with, whose family the child should be exposed to more. Because some people got families and it's just like, my baby.
Right.
Me-
That part.
Look, my family is the tale of 2 cities and 2 sides. And I used to tell my son, mom, like, hey man, don't be around my grandma's house chilling like that, boy. They get a little wild over there.
Right.
They're a little more wild over there.
Right.
Might
No,
be
I agree.
goddamn shootout over there. You know, oh my baby over there. But at the same time, that was when he was a year old. When he got about 12 years old, I'm like, nah, he need to go around there a little more so they can goddamn put some dirt on his knees. You feel me? So, you know, but it's a lot.
Even if you don't have kids with them, if you have kids in general, I mean, if I were to get married, I have 2 kids. Granted, my daughter's 16, so she says she's going to college, but we'll see where she's gonna go. But, you know, even just the whole raising children, I think people don't really do counseling anymore. You gotta talk about raising.
talking about it first.
Now, by saying finances, because in the state of Florida, 10 years of marriage, you're locked into that person's retirement, 50% of their retirement.
If I get married, it is death do us.
Right.
Somebody gonna have to die.
What if in year 9 he switch up? Wow,
Somebody gonna have to die.
and then they say if you get married, if you get divorced, he get 50% of your retirement.
Somebody got to die.
So that on the air now.
You like, remember when Alexis said that? Just
I be like, what?
Like, I ain't hear nothing. Well, Mary, you on the podcast with I ain't hear nothing.
I didn't hear that.
But I'm not married yet. I'm not even in a relationship.
We want to promote healthy relationships.
Absolutely.
Healthy relationships.
We're going to be healthy together.
When you get your relationship, just make sure you incorporate couples therapy
Absolutely.
at least 3 times quarterly, 3 times a year, just tune-up factors, and sex therapy. Tune-up factors.
Or frequent sex.
Or frequent sex.
Good, frequent, good sex.
Good frequency.
Yeah. Because if it's bad,
You get rid of them, huh?
So that's why it's been three engagements.
That's what some let them get to engage with
She like,
the red flag.
what, you ain't built right there? She like, you ain't built like that for me to be married.
You got to the restaurant on that.
Oh, girl. Life too short for that.
Wait.
you know what? I can't be moderator on this show no more. Come on now, y'all got me telling too much.
Yes, you had Hennessy in that cup.
It's cranberry juice.
It's dinner time. I'm out.